Well, here we go again, folks. Another real estate rule change that's going to confuse home sellers, home buyers, realtors, and industry. And it's pretty frustrating, but I'm going to actually call out who are the problems here. What parts of the real estate industry really needs to change? Who are the problematic players? And I'm going to take apart the whole real estate industry completely and then put it back together the way I think is going to benefit the consumers, home sellers and home buyers the most, not the real estate industry, and put it back together and give you a model that hopefully some smart people can use this template to actually change the real estate industry. Hey, welcome back to my podcast. My name is Shawn Yu from Portland, Oregon. When I was growing up, I love taking things apart. Like if I see cassette tape player, I would just like unscrew the back of it, take off the back cover, and then like see what's inside and like play it. I'm kind of lucky that I didn't hurt myself. Electrified, and I put it back. Sometimes I was able to put it back, sometimes it broke. Now, my intention isn't to break the real estate industry. I want to just take it apart based on my 17 years of selling real estate and give you my personal opinion of how real estate industry can improve that can benefit the consumers, home sellers, and home buyers, not so much of the real estate industries. Because at the end of the day, we're consumers. So to give you a brief sort of background, how I got here is because NAR, National Association of Realtors, they keep getting sued. They settled a lawsuit last. I mean, that was a loss, by the way, in 2024, not allowing the seller's agent to negotiate the fee with the seller so that better efficiency for the closing. The other thing is you can't even advertise buyer's agent's fee on MLS, which is less transparent. And then the other thing is the buyers have to sign an exclusive agreement to see just one house, which adds more, bureaucracy at this point. And to me, that was going backward. It wasn't really promote antitrust law and protect the consumer. They actually went less transparent. They went backward. Now today, I just saw another news from NAR sort of giving in. It's frustrating like hell. They're just basically giving in to the industry, the private network group that sued them like 5 years ago, and they got dismissed and they reopened the case, dismissed, reopened case. Now, they kind of settled into a where if a realtor within a brokerage, if the seller allows, they can just promote within the brokerage and they don't have to share that listing data to another brokerage or put in MLS or put in online. So they can basically do the pocket listing on their own. And they're allowing it because they keep getting sued. They want to settle it. They call it the industry efficiency and they call it the giving more options to sellers. But it's really, in my opinion, and they are trying to save their butt giving into these things. So I wanted to break apart the real estate industry and I'll explain to you who are the players, where the money is coming from, who are doing the profit sharing here, and I'm going to put it back, what is going to really help the consumers. So I spent like probably few hours this morning. In Portland, we're getting storm tomorrow, but the weather was great. So I got some good sunlight, good energy, and good focus. They're anticipating $1.4 trillion of home sale price sales. What it means is that like one house is, let's say, $500,000, right? And how many homes to be sold to make the $1.4 trillion? That's the volume of the home sales. Based on that, 2% of that 1.4 trillion is $30 billion. Now, that money is made by the real estate agents. This is just the residential. I just put 2% because some people are gonna charge 1.5, this and that, but I'm going very conservative number here because this is just one side of transaction. If you do double side, even at 4%, let's say, you know, seller's agent 2%, buyer's agent 2%, that would be double, $60 billion industry. Now, all these entities, NAR, the private national MLS, private network, local MLS, local brokerages, local realtor associations, local forms, state agents, they all get benefited from that money right there. I should put actually 60. 60B. That's 4%. Anyways, so here is the current system, and here is what I think can benefit the industry and the consumers, and I'll, you know, go into that. The basic thinking process is based on where the monies are going and how it can improve. So let's dive into it. So current settlement that they just made an announcement is this. The private network basically sued NAR and one of local MLS, which is San Francisco MLS. But they dropped the San Francisco one and they're just going after NAR. Oh, by the way, NAR makes about, well, this is important. NAR makes about $1.2 billion from the annual dues that they collect from about 1.5 million realtors in the country. So I pay every year about $800 a year, just myself, times 1.5 million realtors. That's $1.2 billion. So it's a lot of money. When the private network sued them, saying that what NAR controls is the listings, or not allowing private entity to do their own marketing. They're using that as an antitrust law violation. So because they let that allowed, now they could actually do more of a pocket listings. So let's say some group of these guys in San Francisco, they have a membership fee of like, I think I saw about $700 a month. So to be in this private network group, you have to pay $700, which is what? Very similar to this, $800 a year. So what they're doing is, private network is trying to make their own version of NAR. Do you follow me? So once that's allowed, let's say they are successful, they're within their members, let's say 500 realtors who pay to 700 to these guys, they actually sell well because they're just controlling the inventory within the 700 agent and sell each other. Whether that's really benefiting the seller or not, that's a whole other matter at this point. If they're successful, there's going to be another private network who will come up and sue them. And then they charge 500. Another one come up, they charge 400, sue them, and they let them do it. Because what ended up happening is they pay their own realtor's fee, they pay their own realtor's fee. If the NAR is sued like 1,000 times and cut by 1,000 times, they're not going to be able to sustain. They already paid like $400 million. Oh no, I forget what it was. It was a really big number of settlement in 2024. So are they really sustainable? At this point, I'm a member of NAR, but I don't know. What they're doing is basically this wild west happening to save NAR, in my opinion. And then let's talk about the local MLS. Local MLS may be necessary, maybe not. I'll kind of dive into that more. And then there are local brokerages. There's some necessity in that. Local realtors associations. I have mixed feelings about it. Local forms. In the Portland Metro right now, we have 2 forms. It's ridiculous. You have to decide with the listing agent which form you're going to use. Because if you mix up the forms, it doesn't cover comprehensively, so things could fall off. So if you start with the Oregon Realtors form, you have to complete the transaction with the Oregon Realtors form. If I use the OREF form, I have to use the OREF forms. So we have to have 2 different forms within just one market, which is a ridiculous thing. So in a way, my point is this. There are 2 local forms. They're just trying to compete against each other. That's, in some sense, that promotes the antitrust law because you're allowing competition. However, when the competition is just for the business to make profits off of, at the cost of the consumer's benefit, that's antitrust law being misused, in my opinion. And in this case, 2 local forms. One is free if you're an Oregon Realtor. The other one you have to pay like $70 a year. So it comes from the realtor's pocket, right? Is that really necessary? My answer is no. That's where an adult state agency's role comes in pretty strong here, in my opinion. Because state agency, they basically regulate the license, the state law. They reprimand the realtors who act up, do bad things. They keep the license of like the contractors, homeowners, home inspectors. They regulate these professionals so that they do their job, keep their dues, do the right thing. When they do wrong things, you lose license. They have the power. In my opinion, just looking at the local forms, I think state agencies said, that's enough, guys. Let's not focus on making profits here. Let's make it more efficient so realtors can do their jobs and protect the consumer's best interest. I'm gonna go up. Local realtors associations. We have like PMAR, EMAR, Salem. We have, that I know, at least 4 of them that around me within the radius that I can do business with. If I want to do this, I have to join them. If I want to sell in Salem, I probably will have to join the Salem board. And then if I want to sell in, let's say, somewhere in the east, I have to join EMAR, blah, blah, blah. You get my point, right? Every of these, associations have their dues. So they're making money from realtors. They do some good things, advocating the realtors, benefit this and that, but is it necessary? If the big adult, the state agency is doing their job and actually regulate it, I don't think it's necessary. Local agency is not, the local realtors association is not necessary, in my opinion. Local forms, no. 필요 없어. 필요 없어 means you don't need it. I'm speaking Korean at this point. 필요 없어요. Local brokerage. Local brokerage's role is where if you get a brand new license, you have to join a brokerage for 3 years minimum. That you get trained, you learn the business, you learn not to do the bad thing, so you lose license, right? So in my opinion, it's important. However, the scale of local brokerages can be something that can be problematic, in my opinion, because they're just focusing on the size of the business and they influence like national policies. In my opinion, one of the big brokerages, or 2 of them, they basically didn't defend themselves that well during 2024 settlement, ended up losing the case. and making it all open and make it less efficient at this point. I think it's their fault. Now let's talk about local MLS. Local MLS, same thing with the local realtors associations. I have at least 1, 2, 3 that I know of, or 4 actually. 4 that I know of within 1 hour radius, maybe 1.5 hour radius from where I am, Portland Metro. They're making dollars from realtors, right? Is it really necessary? My answer is no. 필요 없어요. State agency 같은 경우에 I'm speaking Korean, sorry. State agency, if they just make one state MLS, because real estate is such that if I'm looking for a home in Oregon, I don't need to see Idaho MLS. In other words, big private national MLS like Zillow or Realtors.com, it's not really necessary because I'm looking for a home in Oregon. All I need is one MLS that lists all the realtors' names, lists all the listings that are available within Oregon. That's all I want. I don't need to see Florida listings. I don't need to see Texas listing because I'm not moving there. Do you see where I'm going? So, state agency, if they make one MLS for state of Oregon and regulate that, that's the answer in my opinion. The reason why the national MLS doesn't work is there's so many different local MLS and so many different local laws. They all have to agree on which field, which information to include, whether to include termite inspection done or not, yes or no. That is relevant in California, but not relevant in Oregon because we don't really get termites here. I've seen it maybe like 3 times in my last 17 years. So there's so many different rules, regulations, the inspection needed, everything. It's impossible to make a national law or national MLS. However, national MLS is not necessary other than companies like Zillow charging, again, realtors to pay their profit. So state can handle this. That's all we need. Now, do we need private network? I mean, they can do it, but in my opinion, they make it less exposure for the seller. So 500 realtors in their network, and in Oregon, I have no idea. 70,000 realtors, maybe 50,000 realtors, I'm not sure. In Oregon, let's say there are about 50,000 realtors. If one of these 500 agents get a listing, and that seller says, yeah, just share within your brokerage, and then the other 50,000 realtors don't know about their listing, do you think that's going to help that seller benefit? Help the seller get the best offer and best pricing? The answer is no. Because as we know, the open market, more exposure leads to better offer price, more benefit for the sellers, right? So why would you allow this? This is what I'm saying. The adult, the state agency needs to come and say, hey guys, let's just stop this petty, sand, what do you call it, the playground, the sandbox fight. It's basically what that is, sandbox fight. Private network 1 and 2, private network this and that, some brokerage this and that. It's like sandbox infight. So if you hire one of these sandbox brokerages and you actually didn't know what it means and you allow them to do pocket listing, you're not going to see the rest of the market, the rest of the realtors, rest of the buyer pool. My camera battery just died, so I'm gonna start over, but I'm at a slightly lower tone because I was getting fired up there. So let's go ahead and revisit and follow the money. So NAR makes about $1.2 billion a year, and local MLS, there are apparently more than 700 local MLS systems in the country. And my MLS, our MLS, I think I pay about $800 a year. So this is another magic number, isn't it? About $800 a year times, I have no idea, maybe 10,000 realtors. That's a lot of money there, right? And then the private network, the one that sued NAR, they sued NAR. I went to one of their websites and saw that their annual membership is about six something. It's close to $700 a year, and this is a new kid on the block, right? So that's what happens. And as I mentioned, there's going to be another, private network 2, private network 3. Just keep going because they want to make the $700 per agent times whatever. That's a lot of money. So this is all about making money, guys. Not so much of the transparency, more options to sell it. That's a BS. Let's face it. And like I said, NAR try to just save their entity, save their profit. They just keep agreeing to settling lawsuits like this. This is just getting ridiculous. Let's look at local MLS. Oh, we did look at the local MLS, and as I mentioned, there are just too many different rules to make a national, regulated things. I mean, this country is so big, you can't even agree on one little law in different states, like liquor law or school education law. It's not going to happen. And then the local realtor association, gosh, my association, they charge close to, I want to say, $200-ish per agent. Local real estate form, one is free, the other one is like $80 a year, I think. Let's see, what else? So if I want to just zoom out, going back to the, I always try to follow the money, then what's really happening. And $60 billion is the big pie that they just try to slice it up and try to take as much slice that is possible. So now let's go into the last part of this video. What I think is really the best system. And now I'm going to put it back together. What I did so far is I took it apart. I opened up the back. I showed you who are making what, who sued who, how many other entities or business entities that are in the state. Oh, by the way, I pay about a few $100s to state to renew license, to renew my brokerage, to pay the dues, this and that. Yeah, I pay state agents, and I'm okay with that because the state agency, they regulate the laws, they regulate people, they give fines to people in line so that they don't do bad things. Because real estate is one of the most expensive items that people sell and buy. We really need some kind of regulation, very high standard how we help these people so regular people don't get hurt, right? So to me, state agency is a must. Without it, it's gonna become, I don't know, wild west. It really will be. Right now, what's happening with the private network and NAR settling, this is like going to wild west, in my opinion, at the expense of antitrust law. They're misusing antitrust law to benefit their business. That's what's happening. All right, so far, like I said, I took it apart. I completely broke it apart. So here are the players. These players are making this kind of profits. Now, here is The question is, how can we get the most benefit for the homeowners, home buyers, and consumers? That is the definition of antitrust law. So if I say pro antitrust law, that's like positive, negative, positive, and law. If I summarize it, becomes, so get rid of positive and negative, then it becomes like neutral, right? Trust law. Trust law sounds a little cheesy. That just becomes law, right? In my opinion, the first thing is the adult state agency needs to step up and don't allow these private network or small entities, multiple forms, multiple realtors association, multiple local MLSs, multiple national private networks, multiple this, multiple that, multiple this, just to allow those businesses, because it's not a necessity in my opinion. So big adult, the state agency, make the state MLS. This is the same thing as, you might say, hey Shawn, that sounds very much like communist there. Maybe like, communist. But if you think about it, state real estate agency, they basically law enforcing, licensing. They have a full list of realtors. They have full list of like licensed contractors. They have full list of and they're the one actually having that list. All they need to add is just full list of listings. That's all they have to do. So for the consumers, if they want the full menu option, which realtors to hire, which listings to buy, where to market, all that problem is solved because state's gonna have the full list of listings. At the same time, they're going to have a full list of realtors, good and bad. As long as they're licensed, they're there. You can find them, not just the realtors who pay money to be on Zillow or Realtor.com. How do you know they're good or not? They just paid money to be advertised. That's what it is. So why don't we have a full list of listings on the state website? Now, if you sell a home in Oregon, do you need to list it in Florida? No, not really. Because people live in Florida who's looking to buy in Oregon will come to state listing service in Oregon. Does that make sense? So going back to I'll summarize this long video. If you like this content, please hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you very much. All right, because it takes some time and effort and brain power and making videos, it takes some effort here for sure. Thank you. So going back to the big adult state agency taking charge, not letting that sandbox fight, make the state MLS to list all the realtors, all the home inspectors, all the insurance agents, all the loan officers, all the listings for sale. And then local brokerage. As I mentioned earlier, local brokerages, they actually educate the realtors. They make realtors better realtors. And I'll be honest, I was with a big brokerage in the past and I learned a lot because I was in a big group of people. They're ethical, hardworking, try to do the right things, and at the same time learning how to pick up leads, how to do open house, how to make offer. If I make this in an offer, it becomes unethical, so I shouldn't do it. So my thinking process is because of all the education that I got from the brokerage, and Colleen, my principal broker, principal broker, she is great. Whenever I think about something, doing things, putting something in the offer, I think about her, or going into her office. Basically, I picture, hey Colleen, I have this situation. Should I put this on my addendum or not? a lot of times at the end, as I'm, asking her question, I already know the answer. So now in my home office, I'm making an offer. I'm basically going to that office with Colleen and says, hey, I'm just having this conversation with Colleen. It's like Yoda almost. Colleen, you're like Yoda. So I have this conversation and I do the right thing. And I don't have to talk to her every time because I've been through that process, that filter check. So brokerage is, I think, really important. That makes or break a good realtor or not good realtor, and shady realtor or not shady realtor. So if you have state agency, it's going to regulate the realtors, licensee, listings, laws, all the penalties. They can handle that. Local MLS, in my opinion, one of the local or combine the local MLSs into one, that's fine. I'm okay paying them money because it's, like technology involved, it needs a lot of work, but we don't need 4, 5, 6, 7 other local MLS in Oregon. Why? So state basically say, hey, you guys combine into one, or we're going to take it over. That might be the option. That might be the only way to do it. And then local brokerage to educate and regulate per the state law. So that's all we need. So let's go back. NAR, National Association of Realtors. 필요 없어. Private National MLS. 필요 없어. Private Network. 필요 없어요. Multiple Local MLS. Bunch of them. 필요 없어. 하나만 있으면 돼요. One. You only need one. Local brokerage. Yes, we do need that. Multiple local forms 필요 없어요. Local realtor associations 필요 없어요. State agency must 필요합니다. 이렇게 되면, so if we do this, all this money that is spent, in some way, the realtors may not have to pay that much to run a business. And we may actually be able to give some lower fees to our consumers. And a lot less lawsuits, a lot less of the energy and efficiency wasted. And we don't have to deal with these rule changes all the time because rules are going to be governed by the big adult, the state real estate agency. Let's see, did I cover it all? I think I did. Yeah. Man, I got fired up. Well, this is my opinion, guys. I may be doing the real estate for next 10 more years, make a lot of money, and then I may retire, or I may quit next year because I can't make any more money after making video like this because industry there's come after me or something. Don't do that, please. I'm just sharing my opinion, honest opinion for the better good for more people. I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. I know this might be a lot radical. There are a lot of companies that are going to be very unhappy with me because I said it, especially NAR, who's been, in my opinion, well, I'll leave it there. All this private network, yeah, do whatever you want, but don't do pocket listings knowing that you're going to limit the exposure of the seller's listing in order for you to make more money by selling it within the brokerage. Where's the picture? Yeah, within the brokerage, not giving the full exposure to the rest of the market. Are you really servicing your clients? Or are you just double ending or in-house deals, getting that done? And by the way, you may get sued down the road if the seller finds out that by giving you that option, they didn't get the full exposure to the whole market. And they may say, well, I didn't get the best deal because they did that. You may get sued, so be careful out there. Probably the local MLS is going to be upset at me. Local Realtors Association, they're going to be upset at me. Local Forum Committee, they're going to be upset at me. That's fine. Let's make it efficient and really find a good, efficient way to do real estate business, because at the end of the day, we're doing our job to help our home buyers, home sellers, and consumers and make some profit. But let's not twist the law, the antitrust law, to make your business flourish at the expense of consumers' benefit. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right. I doubt that any home sellers or home buyers watch this, but it's more for the industry folks out there. So do the right thing. Let's make it a better industry so we don't get this bad rap, realtors suck type of thing. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy the sunny day in Portland, Oregon. And I'll see you on the next video.